You've probably spent a good chunk of time scrolling through endless listings, trying to picture how a new range will actually fit into your kitchen routine. You want something that doesn't just look good on paper, but that you can actually rely on day to day without constantly second-guessing whether you made the right call. That hesitation is real, especially when a smart label can sometimes mean a lot of hidden quirks. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started digging into sliding gas ranges, the first thing I noticed was how many of them try to be a jack-of-all-trades. They promise 5 burners, a convection oven, a built-in grill, sometimes even a built-in grill. The risk is that you end up with a lot of features you never touch, and a few you actually need that just don't work the way you expect. The LG LSGS6338N tries to sidestep that trap by focusing on a handful of genuinely useful upgrades. A 5-burner cooktop that's designed for flexibility, a smart oven that talks to your phone, and an InstaView glass panel that lets you glance inside without opening the door. Let's start with the cooktop. The 5 burners are spaced a little wider than you'd find on a standard 30-inch range, which means you can comfortably run a large stockpot on the left, a skillet on the middle, and a small sautepan on the right at the same time. In practice, that layout shines when you're making a family-style Sunday roast. You can sear the meat on the high-output burner while simmering a gravy on a lower one, and still have room for a side of steamed vegetables. The flame control feels responsive, and the burners stay lit even if a draft pushes the flame slightly. The trade-off is that the larger spacing makes the surface a bit less compact for those who like to keep everything tightly packed. You'll notice a tiny bit more in used countertop space when you're only cooking for one. Now, the oven. LG's ThinQ platform adds Wi-Fi connectivity, so you can preheat the oven from your phone while you're still pulling vegetables out of the fridge. The app also pushes a notification when the preheat cycle is complete, which can shave a couple of minutes off your overall cooking time if you're juggling multiple dishes. The air fry function is built right into the convection system, meaning you don't need a separate countertop appliance. I tested it with a batch of frozen chicken wings. After a 20-minute cycle at 400 F, the wings came out crispy on the outside without the need for any oil, and the interior stayed juicy. The downside? The air fry setting runs the fan at full speed, which can be a bit noisy for open-plan living spaces. If you're sensitive to background noise, you might find that the hum is more noticeable than the gentle whir of a traditional oven fan. One of the more subtle conveniences is the InstaView glass panel. A quick double tap lights up the oven interior, so you can see whether your lasagna is browning just right without opening the door and losing heat. In a real-world scenario, that's a game-changer for dishes that need a careful eye, like a souffle that can collapse if the temperature drops. The only catch is that the glass is a bit more delicate than a standard stainless steel door. A hard knock could crack the panel, so you'll want to treat it like a smartphone screen rather than a typical oven door. Connected features are great on paper, but they only matter if they integrate smoothly with the rest of your kitchen tech. The LG ThinQ app syncs with other LG appliances, so if you already have an LG fridge, you can see both the range and the refrigerator temperature on a single dashboard. For households that already run on a smart ecosystem, think Alexa or Google Home, the range can be voice-controlled, letting you set the oven temperature or turn on the burners hands-free. That convenience shines when you have messy hands or when you're juggling a kid's bedtime routine. On the flip side, the Wi-Fi setup can be finicky. A few users have reported that the range drops out of the network after a firmware update, requiring a manual reconnect. If you're not comfortable troubleshooting a bit of connectivity, you might prefer a simpler, non-connected model. Who should consider this range? If you're a home cook who enjoys juggling multiple dishes, values the ability to monitor cooking progress from a phone, and appreciates the occasional shortcut that air frying offers, the LG LSGS6338N hits a sweet spot. It also makes sense for families that need a reliable 5-burner layout and want the extra visual cue of InstaView to avoid overcooking delicate meals. On the other hand, if you're a minimalist who only needs a basic 4-burner range, or if you're living in a studio apartment where noise and space are at a premium, the extra smart features and wider burner spacing might feel like unnecessary bulk. From a value perspective, the price point sits in the mid-range for sliding gas models with smart features. You're paying for the connectivity, the air fry,